special. Let's first say to Kenya. If you look at the situation of MTN Uganda, actually opening shares or room for the shares here, let's look at the Kenyan investors have been offered free initial public offer shares by MTN Uganda. And what does this actually mean? So we're looking at the situation where Uganda first, but then East Africa, Kenya, Tanzania inclusive, before we even hit the foreign investors as well. Now the investors have been offered free shares for motivation to buy stock in telecom firm MTN Uganda that opened its 27.6 billion initial public offering. And if you look at the situation where MTN Uganda is selling 4.47 billion, now we're in Kenya, of what impact is it there to the investors in Kenya? Take a look at this. Now, to boost the chances of the offer being successful, this will actually require applications for purchase of at least 1.1 billion shares, and MTN is offering prospective investors free shares of between 5 to 10 units for every 100 units allocated. And this represents an effective discount of 5 to 10% of the purchase price that is there on the market, assuming an investor gets his full allocation on board and the incentive shares. Then there are no allocation quotas, but Ugandan investors will be given full priority. I was saying the CEO Stanbic Bank was mentioning the fact that everything about the IPO of MTN is putting Ugandan first. So the word priority, like I said, if we are to talk more about this same conversation that we're going to have, is if you look at, say, a Stanbic Bank, she actually say it is Uganda comes in as first priority. And if Uganda's first priority, then Ugandans first, before Kenyans come in, or before my brothers in Tanzania do come in. Now, this represents an effective discount of 5 to 10% of the purchase price, assuming an investor gets his full allocation. Let's take a look at this now. The incentive shares, and there are no allocation quotas, but Ugandan investors will be given priority in case of oversubscription, offering Kenyans unlimited room to snap the stocks available. The Uganda Communications Commission, if I to actually look at this way back in 2019, directed all foreign-owned telecoms to reserve at least 20% of shares to locals and East Africans by the end of 2021 in a deal meant to spur local ownership of the telecoms industry, of which MTN has actually championed it. As we speak now, 20% of the shares are out there, publicly listed. The initial public offer. And the MTN Uganda is currently owned by MTN Group and businessman Charles Bire, who has 3.98%. The IPO is open to Ugandan investors as well as different investors and citizens of the East African Community Bloc. So before Ugandan, after the Ugandans coming first, then the Kenyans and the Tanzanians can also step into this. We are into the business special. Today, we're talking shares, stock. What you need to know about shares and what you need to know about the Uganda Stock Exchange. That and more is what we're having today on the show. Those are some of the most interesting conversations available. You see, I've been telling people, you know, when it comes to financial talk, everyone gets so interested because it is money matters. And when it's always money markets or money matters, everyone has to, you know, everyone tries to sharpen their ears, because it's definitely, that's good information being disseminated into your ears. So every time information regarding money is being disseminated across airwaves, you're gonna pick interest, trust me, because this is money that we're talking about. Now, Ugandan investors, however, are being given the top priority, like I was saying, in the share sale, as institutional investors in Uganda and other East African countries will have to invest larger amounts in order to get free sales out of it. And to get 5 free shares for every 100 units allocated, the professional investors, this is applying to the East African bloc, must apply for stock with a minimum value equivalent to 109.3 million shillings. And to qualify for 10 free shares for every 100 units allocated, the investors will need to apply for stock worth a minimum of 5.5 billion Ugandan shillings. Now, the IPO, or the initial public offer, will potentially be Uganda's biggest ever and major boost to its stock market. And if you look at the situation, the listing of MTN Uganda becomes the second publicly traded telco or telecommunications company in the East African bloc after Safaricom IPO on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. We draw back that to 2008 when Safaricom was actually listed on the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Now here, MTN Uganda, as of October 2021, listed on the Uganda Stock Exchange. This is a very big milestone for a company that has stayed in Uganda for over 23 years and is saying Uganda is home. That is why they extended their stay in Uganda and business in Uganda. Now look at this and say, the IPO will potentially be Uganda's biggest ever. This particular MTN IPO, biggest ever and a major boost to its stock market. Small bounce with 40,000 investors trading just 17 stocks. And the Ugandan government set the listing of the telecoms on the local bourse as one of its license renewal conditions to allow local ownerships of bigger companies with few shareholders. So that is what it means. That is one of the impacts of the same initial public offer by MTN Uganda. And if you look at the situation here, like I was actually saying, for the companies on the East African bloc to qualify for 10 free shares for every 100 units allocated, the investors will need to apply for stock worth a minimum of 5.5 million Ugandan shillings. We're into the business special, just special as you get it. And when we're discussing stock, shares, anyone interested in business, trust me, you're going to love what we're going to discuss about the conversations. I don't know if any one of you has actually been so enthusiastic to actually listen more about the same situation, because I guess this is an interesting conversation that we're going to be having and sharing more with the big names when it comes to the financial markets in Uganda. And it's something that I think it will incite you as a viewer to get to know how you can buy a share from MTN Uganda and of what importance it is to MTN Uganda. Every time when we drive your business, we keep telling you, try to invest in the shares or try to invest in stock. And Mr. Marcelino Makune always comes here with a trading door to actually give you a broader picture of what is happening in the market, in the capital markets, as well as the stock that is available. If you look at the trending, the forex, there's the forex trends, look at the available markets or the stock exchange markets as they're happening across the world, from Nairobi Stock Exchange, Uganda Stock Exchange, down to the New York Stock Exchange. So greatly, this is how we drive your business. And I'm yours truly, Jerome Paul Sonko. Now, meanwhile, MTN Uganda set the price being 200, and we've all actually been saying this, and this means it is a $0.0558 per share, as the East African nation's biggest telecoms operator launched the country's biggest initial public offer, and giving, which means that MTN Uganda, which is offering 4.5 billion shares, according to the CEO. The unit of South Africa's MTN Group secured regulatory approval that happened earlier last week, as the news started circulating that, you know what, MTN Uganda is going to be publicly listed on the Uganda Stock Exchange, a big milestone to see that a telecommunication company, more so MTN Uganda, one of the largest or one of the biggest multi-telecommunication companies out there, taking part in it as well. And this would value the stake at 895.56 billion shillings. That is roughly 250 million US dollars. And MTN Uganda at 1.25 billion US dollars. That is according to the company statement. And now look at this. When we end the business special, what we normally do is giving you in-depth analysis. If we have exclusive interviews, we bring them on board for you to understand the trends available in business. This actually gives you a view before you tap into any available market, for you to understand that this is the available market that we have, or this is the available product out there in the market before you actually venture into it. Now, for instance, if any other company steps foot and opens shares for the public, with the business special, we make sure we give you all the latest in regards to that. We are moving in that line together, because I think if we keep on informing you on the business aspect, I mean, we drive business. What do you expect us to do? So when we do drive the business, we make sure you get all the latest, from the in-depth analysis down to making sure you're updated, from the list down to what most of you look at the situation. Now, you see, I've been having some of the interactions with people and telling me they're most excited about the idea that MTN Uganda has opened these shares for them, who has actually, it's just like when you're going to the market and you're going to buy a kilo of beef. If you look at the commodity prices, a kilo of beef may be roughly between 15,000 or so. And you reach the market. And this time around, the leading butcher sells a kilo at 5,000 Ugandan shillings. Or let me say at 2,000 Ugandan shillings. And the butcherman actually tells you, you know, I'm actually going to sell a kilo of meat with effect from today, with effect from today at 2,000 Ugandan shillings. You'll be really excited for that. So the conversations I've actually been having with some of the Ugandans who've actually been excited greatly to actually apply for the shares from MTN Uganda. I feel like it's an opportunity for them to invest more, because now of late Ugandans have actually been piquing interest in trading with the online. You've seen the situation of Bitcoin and what have you. But now when it reaches to investing in stock, a few of the Ugandans have actually been interested. If you're to look at the average Ugandans, or Muntu Wawansi, most probably. And this time around, I guess, if a share is at 200 Ugandan shillings from a bigger company, and you have 100,000 Ugandan shillings, you can use this as an opportunity for you to look at it in a way that if you purchase it, within a few years' time, you're going to become maybe a shareholder, a bigger shareholder. Imagine if you started up as a shareholder with only 500 shares on board, the minimum. Let's say you've bought 100,000. Then after a period of 5 years, you buy more shares. Or maybe you keep on buying every after 1 month. Imagine how your shares are going to be multiplying every other day. We're speaking of the 20% that was laid on board by MTN Uganda meanwhile. So if you look at the situation, what do you expect?